Hello everyone, and welcome to day 78 of the longing. Maybe I should return to my home? Not just yet, we won't. Gonna be exploring some more of these upper caves. Let's see, we're just coming back from that way. I think if we go around here, back up around, we might be able to see about making that spider into our friend. Not sure if I really have much in the way of a serious topic or anything to discuss today. I'm mostly just trying to make sure that I have a little bit more of a backlog of episodes because it's gotten smaller. I'm feeling very allergic right now. I was just working outside a lot, and it's probably decomposing leaf material, making me all gross. But I guess it is what it is. A lot of stuff that I've got on my mind of things I would talk about, but are either like stuff that I don't want to get distracted from, like there's so many things going on, or there's something going on in a fandom that I don't want to spoil people on, and I want the majority of things. Oh, hello there, friend. We make friends if you visit friend. Oh no. I'm sorry. Are you okay, friend? Friend? Let's follow this little guy. What do you guys think of spiders? I really like spiders. Yeah, they don't move that fast or anything, so they're not scary because of that. They eat bugs and all that. Oh, what is he doing? Climb web. My only friend the spider is crafting a web. I can climb it once it's strong enough for my fragile body. This could take days. Ah, I get it. So, we don't get any moon shoes, but we do get our friend to make webs for us so that we can climb around. That's cool. I like that. Pick up. Give me the call. Let me look and see if I got any great topics written down over here in my big pile of papers. Let's see what we got here. That's an old script. No. Why did I have these things together? Oh, I think I see what I had an idea. I don't know if you've ever seen, there's like almost a genre of anime that is sort of about the otaku sort of phenomenon and just social anxiety and a horrible cringe and stuff like that. And it specifically, at least, I'm thinking about Welcome to the NHK and Watamote. They feel very similar, but also very different. But with Welcome to the NHK, it's about this guy who is basically just an otaku shut-in and is trying to get through life. Ooh, let's spelunk into this tiny little dead end and maybe we can get a disappointment out of this. A dead end, if there ever was one. I now have 5 disappointments. Achievement unlocked. Disappointing achievement. It almost looks like the way that the cave slants, that it's giving us angry eyebrows. Alright. I don't think our shade has ever felt anger, only disappointment. But, one thing that about Welcome to the NHK is this idea of the actual NHK is, or I don't know actual, but like in the context of the show, it's this idea that the main character has, that there is an organization called the NHK, and that organization is the reason that all sorts of bad things are happening to him, and the reason for his anxiety and reason for everything is caused by the NHK. And so he can blame all his problems on this secret organization that he has no reason to believe in. He is just like through like psychosis dreamed this thing up. And the one of the big like philosophical ideas the show is was trying to get across, as far as I can tell, is that in like it took me a while before I really figured out, like, and maybe it should be more obvious than it was for me, but it's if you know the whole like Nietzsche God is dead sort of thing, and like it's sort of trying to talk about that. Ooh, look at a big pretty crystal. Let's get ourselves a pretty crystal. A lonely crystal. I wish to end its pain. We'll make you our friend. Look at the crystal. Don't worry, my little crystal. Soon you'll be freed from your sorrow. Turn off that sound while we go at this crystal. But so it's talking about how sort of like when there was like this idea of God and everybody was religious and everything, people were able to blame God for anything that bad about their life. They could say like, or like think of a reason, like God has a plan, there's a purpose to all of this, and there's a reason, then all of that sort of thing. Or you could, if that wasn't enough for people, they'd come up with devils and such and say, oh, the reason all this bad stuff is happening is because of the devil, such that they wouldn't have to blame themselves, because people don't want that horrible pressure of being responsible for the bad things. Or even worse than being responsible for the bad things is not being able to blame anyone at all. It's even worse when people can look and say it's nobody's fault, and then they're just stuck with these negative feelings that they can't put anywhere. So in the absence of gods and devils, people have to come up and make up their own objects of hatred and their own objects of like scapegoating their problems, because most people aren't strong enough to blame themselves or sit with the fact that it's nobody's fault for their problems. So you get things like scapegoating races and scapegoating people, but also in some cases you get people coming up with what's the word? Conspiracy theories to blame things on. And that's what the main character does. He comes up with this ridiculous conspiracy theory that everyone's out to get him, and they're all part of this secret organization called the NHK. And I think that really explains a whole hell of a lot. I've made very little progress yet. I think it really explains a whole hell of a lot. Just you see this people trying to find things to blame all over the place, and it's sad. And I forget what the like. I wasn't really super happy with the ending of Welcome to the NHK. It felt sort of like the guy didn't know how to end it, so he just was sort of like, give up on your dreams and just follow societal norms, and you'll be happy. But I don't know. It felt kind of to me, the whole Welcome to the NHK ending, at least in the anime. I hear that the manga is different and darker. I have not read the manga, but I was recently drawing a comparison of that in my head when I was, spoilers for Berserk, if you haven't watched Berserk, just stop, but or not watch Berserk, but if you haven't read the manga, the lost chapter of Berserk, the whatever it's called, the Heart of Darkness, or the it's called the Idea of Evil. So in Berserk, there's this lost chapter in which after Griffith has made his sacrifice and he is being reborn as Femto, in the middle of that, he is basically given audience to this giant black heart pumping negative energy throughout the planes of the universe, or whatever it's called. I don't know. I kind of stopped reading Berserk very soon after this. I'm interested in Berserk, but not a lot of stuff about it annoys me. But like I think there's lots of really cool ideas in Berserk. The heart talks to Griffith and he tells him that the heart is the idea of evil. And what that means is that I've made some progress, but I'm not even halfway there. what that means is that in the Berserk world, there are people's beliefs can can fabricate things out of like the aether. So if enough people believe in something, like I think I got to a part in it where they said like enough people believe in the concept of trolls, that trolls became a thing out of like magic and the aether or whatever, out of all this collective human belief. Uh, and what with the idea of evil, people believed that the bad things that happened to them in their life, they must have some reason that these bad things were happening to them. There must be something doing this to them, and maybe there's a reason behind it. And so many people believed that the idea of evil came into existence and retroactively and through all points in the future created a reason for all this suffering and became the reason in itself for all of that suffering that it was doing to people. And it seems to have some sort of grand plan for the universe. And the whole reason that it came into being was because of this people's collective desires for a reason to all this. So in a similar way to, and welcome to the NHK, that people's desire for something to blame manifested into something that gave them horrible trouble in their life and ruined their lives and caused all this suffering. In a similar way, in Berserk, people's desire for something to blame created the idea of evil, which created all this horrible stuff. Uh, and I just thought that was an interesting parallel. I don't know if I have much more to say about it than that. I think I'm halfway there. And considering that I don't have much more to talk about in this particular topic, and I'm only halfway there, it'll be a very awkward lingering to finish this crystal. So I think I'm going to end an episode right here, and I will talk to you guys in the next episode. See ya.